Hey everybody, this is a quick tutorial on how to use Soundtrap for music class using your school iPad or your phone, okay? My disclaimer at the beginning is this. Pardon me. If you have an Android phone, I'm not 100% sure if this is going to work the same, but I do know that if you have an iPhone or you have an iPad, that this is how it should work. If you have an Android and you're having some issues, just please let me know and I will do my best to make things happen for you on your end. Anyway, some things I've discovered about using Soundtrap on a device that's not a computer or a laptop is that the Soundtrap app is not the way to go. Okay, so if you have a school iPad, you don't even have an app store, so you can't download any apps. Please don't jailbreak your iPad. Trust me, it's not a good idea. It won't work anymore and it'll shut down. So we're going to work with what we have. And Soundtrap only works on Safari for these Apple products, okay? So I know Google Chrome is down here at the bottom, but you actually don't want to use Google Chrome. You're going to want to use Safari. And on my school iPad, it's over here, but let's say you can't find it because your iPad might look different. You take two fingers and then you do this. And again, same thing for your phone. You drag down and it'll give you a search bar. As soon as I just used Safari, it popped up, but pretend again that that's not the case. I start to type in the word Safari, and then you'll see it pops up here. I'm going to press Safari, and then I'm going to go up to the address bar, and I'm going to type in soundtrap.com. And if you're on an iPhone, it's going to ask you to try to download the app. It doesn't seem to be working so well for me, so just ignore that and keep going on your web browser, okay? I'm actually going to log out real quick because I was already logged in messing around. So this would be the screen that you'll probably see if you're using it for the first time, okay? You're going to want to go up to this little tab here with the 3 bars, and you're going to press at the bottom, log in. Every time you log in with Soundtrap, regardless of what device you use, whether it's one of these or a laptop or a desktop computer, you always press log in with Google, okay? And then you always use your PPHS NYC account. Mine pops up because I've already used that on this device, but it's the typical Google login that hopefully you're all really familiar with. And when you log in, sometimes it bounces you through a few windows, just like it did with me. Just be patient. And if it won't log you in, just be 100% sure that you did classwork 2, which asks you to sign up for Soundtrap and to join my class, okay? Moving along, I'm gonna just use a general studio thing here. I just pressed enter studio. Now on Google Classroom, oftentimes I'll have a Soundtrap link for you to click on for an assignment. So click on that and it should take you to something like this that should be already set up, but I'm just doing it from scratch. So when you get to the screen, when you've entered the studio, it asks you to select a template. You don't need to select anything special. So blank is all we really need. I'm gonna press blank. And then you have a pretty blank screen. Don't let that scare you. What we're gonna do today is we're just gonna do the basics. So just the basic functions like volume, fade in, fade out, selecting some loops to put together, and then how to organize them to make something that sounds neat. Okay, so to start that, what I'm gonna do is go up here to that purple music note button. Those are called eighth notes if you wanna be a total music nerd. So I press those eighth notes and you'll see that a little sidebar shows up and you have all of these things to select from. Now, before we go into here and start listening, what you wanna do is you'll see at the top in the search bar, it says originals. You don't really need that there. What that does is it actually narrows down how many beats you can see and play. So I just click the X to delete that. And what that did was open up thousands of more sounds, okay? And just in general, you can scroll through, and I highly suggest you use headphones because you're going to get the real sense of how things sound when you use headphones. If you're just listening to it on your speaker on your device, it's probably going to sound pretty dull and you won't hear all the detail. The way to listen is this little play button. What I've noticed is that when you first get into Soundtrap, sometimes you have to press it twice. See? Now it plays. So now we have this function. Don't ask me why it makes you do it twice. I'm not sure. But it seems like once you do that once, you're good. Ooh. All right. Before I start losing my mind looking at beats, I want to show you this up here. So to narrow down your search in a way that you want, you can press these little category buttons to do that. So for this activity, I want to use a synth sound, which is kind of that computery, spacey sound that you hear in tons of music. And I also, well, no, I'm just going to stick to synth. So you'll see it actually popped up there. And that just narrows it down to synth sounds. So you'll see, ooh, I'm just kind of experimenting and playing things. This is probably the most fun part about Soundtrap, is just discovering what they have, and the sounds on here are pretty awesome. So I'm gonna just select a sound that I really like, or a loop. I like that one. So this one's called Lucid After Lead 2. To add it to your track, there is a little plus sign over there. Apparently on a phone, it's pretty easy to hit this plus sign, but I've noticed that if you just double tap, it's easier, and that adds your beat. Turn down this volume a little. All right, so you see my loop just popped up over here. I'm gonna get rid of, well, actually, first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press the stop button. Up here is your play, stop, record button. You really use play and stop the most. When I press this button, it takes my cursor back to the beginning. Sorry, I just pressed a couple buttons. Now, you notice when I press these note buttons, the purple button, that it pops in and out. So I got it out of the way so I could see what I was working with. Okay, when I press the play button, it plays. I press stop. This cursor you can move around anywhere, which is really cool. So if I wanted to start playing it near the end, I could. Okay. Another function that you need to know how to use is the looper. So this purple bar up here is looping this loop over and over and over and over instead of making the cursor keep going, okay? To get rid of the loop function, you just press it and it goes away. You see how it turned gray? So now when I play, it's just gonna keep playing straight through. I don't have anything over here, so you don't hear anything. It's up to you if that works for you or not. Sometimes I like to have this loop on so that I can just keep hearing what I'm working on. Sometimes I like to have it off. See how it popped back to the beginning, right? I'm gonna stop it for a second. So we have a track. Now, I'm gonna turn off the loop and show you, also by the way, on your phone or on an iPad, you can zoom in and zoom out just like you would anything else by using two fingers like that, right? So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit and I'm gonna click on the actual track by tapping it. When you do that, you'll see these little gray areas show up with, on top of the track. What I want to mess with is this one at the end. It's like a little circle arrow, right? This is the looping function for this track. So when I press this and then I drag, you'll see that it actually extends my beat, okay? You can always drag it back and it'll go back to its original form, but I would really like to have it play 4 times, okay? And you can see it makes kind of 4 bubbles, right? And so that's really the first thing to know how to do, is how to loop. Let's add something else to this track. So I'm gonna press the looper. This is kind of fun. Press play. And then I'm gonna go back to my loops. And I'm gonna add something else to this. I'd like some bass sounds. So I'm gonna press bass and try some things out. What I love is that you can actually let your track play over here and you could test things out over it. That's the one, folks. So you can actually compare how they'd sound together before you actually add the track. Now I'm gonna add this Midnight Beat 808 because it sounds really nice. I just double clicked just like I did in the other track. Got that guy out of the way. And now you'll see I have both of these things in here. And again, you can move over just by doing this with your finger. Again, just like most apps that you use. Now, I don't really like the way this is arranged right now because my beat just kind of starts at the beginning and then it ends. I could loop it, but I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to just take this track and I'm going to move it over. So you can actually move tracks too by just clicking and dragging. Just make sure you do it in the middle and you're not hitting the loop button or any of these other gray areas. Now, this is like a little intro, right? And you can control when the beat drops or when any other track comes in. Oop, I have to unloop it. Guys, I'm pretty much Pop Smoke's ghost right now. Cool. So that's what we have so far. All right, so now getting into some of the little details. So when you kick this little guy out, you saw what I just did there? There was like these little kind of icons over in the corner. When I just click it, just press it and kind of move it over this way, it opens up these other options. So you'll see that I have a mute button, I have a headphone button, and I have this volume thing and an R. Ignore the R, that's for recording, and we're not doing that today. I'm gonna take my cursor and I'm gonna bring it back here. And actually, I'm gonna do this just to make it a little bit easier for us at the moment. All right, so as I play, if I don't wanna hear one of the tracks, I just press the mute button. And that just plays what I want to hear. Or let's say I want to just hear this top track. Then I'm going to press the headphones. That's a solo button. And solo just plays that one track. Okay? And the other one, this little slider kind of like circle thing that says volume right under there, or VOL, that adjusts each track how loud or soft it is. So I would like to turn down this Lucid top track. It says it's named Lucid. I'm gonna press volume. I'm gonna drag it down. And I can balance it out. Okay? Same thing I could do for the bottom one too. I could crank it up if I wanted. I could turn it down. Until I find a balance that I like, okay? And I'm gonna show you, let's see, the other big function that's really helpful right now, I think, is over here, the three bars. It's kind of like a menu button. In fact, I'm gonna call it the menu button just for fun. When you do that, you see all of this shows up. And on your phone, it might show up kind of at the top, I forget, but when you do that, you get all these different things you can do. So for instance, if you go here to change name, that'll change the name of your project. Right here, I can change it to Weinert Fun Party Example. Whatever, name it, I'm just naming it whatever I want right now. So that's gonna be the name of this whole project. I'm gonna go here again to the menu button, and so I've changed the name. I'm not gonna worry about changing the key right now, but change tempo is a really fun one too. So you'll see this number, oftentimes it says 120, right now it says 140, but that's your tempo or your speed, okay? If I click right here, I'm gonna actually change the speed by changing the number. So the lower the number, the slower, the higher the number, the faster. I'm gonna change this to be about 103. Why? Because it sounded good. Now, sometimes you get a little thing like this where it asks you to adjust your data. I'm gonna press adjust. You can tinker with that. Sometimes that's helpful, sometimes it's not. And so again, I've just changed it from 140 to 103. And here it's a lot slower, right? Let's say I didn't like that. That really wasn't the vibe I was going for. Up at the top here, you see this little arrow that's undo. I'm just going to undo that. So now, it's like it never happened. Okay, back to the menu button. Some of the other things that you might want to mess with, I just find this to be annoying. There's this thing, it says M, and underneath it says metronome. That's this little click button thing. Sometimes it's on your track, and sometimes it's off. If you hear a little click in the background, you can always press metronome, turn it off, because it gets in the way for me, at least. Maybe it doesn't bother you. That's okay. In the menu, there really isn't much more that you need to really noodle with right now. Just note that there is a little thing that takes you to tutorials. I find that the tutorials are super helpful as we get further down the line in the course because, you know, I'm just in case we're not in class and you have a question, it's a good way to learn how to do stuff. And let's see. Yeah, nothing else really that crazy right now. So I'm actually feeling pretty good about this project. So I'm going to exit the studio. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. You know why? Whew, Miss Weiner almost did the worst thing I could have done. I didn't save. Up here is your save button. Sometimes it saves automatically, but not all the time. So you definitely want to make sure you're going to hit save often so you don't lose any work. And it actually will save versions of it so that if you save, but then you decide that you liked what you did an hour ago better, you can actually go back by pressing the menu button and you can go to previous versions and you can see different versions and the date that you did them, okay? I'm not worried about that right now, so we're not gonna do that. Anywho, the last thing before we exit the studio is to show you this little collaboration button. And the collaboration button is that turquoise button right underneath your loop purple button that we had used a lot earlier. So I'm gonna press this, and here it's blank because no one else is in my project. Now sometimes my little icon will show up automatically because it's automatically shared to me, but sometimes you might need to invite me or invite other people. So you do that by pressing the invite button, and then you're gonna invite, just type in their name. So mine actually pops up automatically, but I'm going to show you if I type MS for Miss and then Weiner, W-E-I, you'll see this little icon. It says Miss Weiner, and there's me skydiving. That's how you can tell it's me. This is my teacher account, and this is the account I use to grade. Okay. I clicked on that. I'm going to click invite, and it says your invitation has been sent. So I'm going to X that out. So what's going to happen here now is that Miss Weiner can come in, listen to your project, and I can chat back and forth with you. This is really important because when you finish something, I usually listen and then I write my feedback right here, and you can type back and forth to me, and that's part of, you know, the process, okay? So now that I've put something together and I'm pretty happy with it, and it looks like I can't save anymore, but I did, all right, I'm pretty good to go to exit the studio. So I'll go back to that menu button, and I'm going to go to the bottom where it says Exit Studio, and it's going to take me back to my main Soundtrap page, okay? And then if I want to ever find that project again, I will find it under My Projects, and you'll see right here at the top it says Weinert Fun Party Example. And I can go right here and press Studio and go right back in, okay? So I hope that gives you guys a good rundown on your phone or on your iPad for how to use Soundtrap. If you have any problems, please let me know so I can help fix them, okay? Otherwise, happy music making and good luck.